the Yankees want the bat. Look at Martin.
Well, what they're talking about, Frank, is that he's got too much pine tar, and you've got to have a certain amount of distance from the trademark of the bat and the pine tar.
And Nettles is leaving the field as if the game is over. Oh, he's just coming in.
I'm not sure. They might have a legitimate gripe. They might be going to call George Brett out.
Well, he is. He's out.
Yes, sir.
Brett is out. Look at this. Brett is out. And
The team is bad.
he is out and having to be forcibly restrained from hitting plate umpire Tim McClellan.
I'm Alex. I'm a Yankees fan, and I hate the Red Sox with a passion.
I'm Gio. I'm a Yankees fan.
Alex, we just went back to back. That'd be mad funny.
This is a funny pod so far.
Dude, people are gonna love it. This is the intro right here.
Yeah,
Just put it in.
This would be the intro. Yeah.
Oh,
That's perfect. We're just some sloppy jalopy fans. We're not really analyzing shit.
Yeah, that's why it's called too much pot there. It's just like too much sauce, you know.
Oh yeah, spicy.
Ducks on the pond? Is that the other one? Ducks on the pond?
Oh yeah.
Ducks on the pond, dude. We should have.
I wanted to use that, but it was taken.
Oh man.
I looked it up and it was on Apple Podcast.
You know what? Probably a good thing we didn't do that because somebody was like tweeting you, right, saying they didn't know what the hell that meant. What's that got to do with football?
Yeah, they were like, "What?" I was like, "What the fuck you mean? What does it mean?" Like, don't you know what that means? If you're actually a baseball fan, you know what that means.
Yeah, they don't. They don't know. They were trying to like fish in it or something. They don't know.
Yeah,
they were doing the Chris Davis fishing for it. Oh, really? Ducks on the pond? Like that's the Chris Davis swing? I don't know, but
all right. So, what do you guys think about Ichiro? Like, I want to talk about Ichiro's career. Like, he was a phenomenal player his whole career. He's definitely Hall of Famer. So, what are you guys' thoughts about that?
I mean, I think like he just changed the game tremendously. Like, not even just from like from a hitting standpoint, just from like internationally. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He should definitely be first ballot. He honestly might be unanimous, like, but I don't know, maybe, possibly, but
there's always that one idiot who doesn't vote.
Yeah, I'm hoping with the way that this last Hall of Fame voting process, the way it went. I mean, like, you look at Rivera, and like a lot of guys were salty about him getting the unanimous, and I mean, there's no question that he's a unanimous Hall of Famer. So it's like, maybe now that opens the door up because that's a relief pitcher, and a lot of people were salty about the fact that it was a relief pitcher that the unanimous. It's like,
but he's like,
I mean, he 100%.
But he was like, he's literally the greatest closer of all time. Like, how do you not vote him in?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I posted something on my Facebook, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, 100%, first ballot, unanimous." And then you got the people chiming in like, "Well, he is the first. I mean, he should have been, but then you got Ken Griffey Jr. and all, et cetera, that didn't get unanimous." Yeah. And it's like,
Mickey Mantle lost out from like 10 votes or something.
Yeah, I get that whole point. But maybe now this changes the process, and maybe in years forward, guys like Ichiro, I mean, deservedly so. It's a first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer. It should be.
I don't see how someone votes against Ichiro.
It's weird watching his last game. Like you could tell. I forget like the Mariners star's name, but just his emotion. Ichiro went to the dugout.
You say Kikuchi.
That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, Kikuchi crying, man. That just sums up like what he meant to Japan and just universally. I mean, this dude, he captured an entire. Really everybody just captured everybody. It's like, just looking at his stats, I mean, 2-time batting title, 3 or all-star MVP, but he was,
he won the MVP in his rookie year.
Yeah, rookie of the year and MVP in the same year.
And he's got over 3,000 hits. So yeah,
dude was still throwing bullets to third base at 45. I mean,
yo, you know what's crazy about
full up brawl on the first podcast like 5 minutes in.
I can't. I think every time Gio goes to talk, I don't know. Are we picking him up?
Yeah,
Can
you-
you hear me okay? Am
Yeah,
talking
I
loud?
think you're kind of quieter than us though.
You're a little quieter because then you're like, I don't know. It's like I think Jamie's just got like a knack for cutting you off. He's like,
I know. Geez,
Yeah.
3 times.
Yo, I've been timing it. I have a timer on my phone.
he's like, you didn't chime in after 2.2 seconds. You're done.
Like,
Maybe
I
I
gave
should
you
just
those 2
start
seconds, Joe. I don't know what I can say
Should
after
I
that.
just start yelling, like
You
screaming?
just
at the
yell,
top?
yeah.
Just start screaming. Use your outside voice.
Do the George Brett at the umpire yell.
Oh yeah, yeah. Give it. It's for the podcast, you know.
If you're listening to this, we're just gonna be screaming through the mic.
That's going in the intro too.
Oh yeah,
Yelling.
definitely.
Just Gio yelling like George Brett.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should definitely be the intro.
Yo, that's the pump up right there to start your morning.
You should like.
Absolutely. Who needs coffee? I got a cup of Joe and Gio yelling like George Brett.
What do you guys think about how the off season has gone?
Well, the off season's definitely
I was
picked
surprised, to be
up.
honest. Like,
Yeah, it's picked up for sure, but like it was like so slow at the beginning. It was annoying.
Well, it was the same way
Yeah.
last year. It's
Yeah.
the same way last
I
year.
was surprised too that like the Padres and the Phillies ended up with the two the two biggest names.
You know what?
Yeah.
I wasn't really surprised by that because the Padres farm system and the Phillies, it was kind of rumored that way the whole time. I mean, I guess you can be surprised that he went to the same division as the Nationals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think both those guys were like, man, we're going to get our money and we're going to go to somebody who's got a real chance of winning, at least in the future, if not now. And the Padres really set themselves up nicely with Machado and everything that they're building around him.
Yeah,
So
they're
Mhm.
2021 champions.
And I wrote when Machado and Harper signed. I wrote an article on the
Tatis,
Scorecrow.
Anfield's gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
But I wrote an article on the Scorecrow about each teams that they're on between Arenado, Harper, and Machado. And the one thing I explained about Machado is, his team that he has is young. And was it Urias? They have him coming up. Fernando Tatis hasn't even had any major league experience yet. He hasn't been in the majors yet. He'll probably come in this year, later on this year, because again, and with that, these young guys, they're all going to have them for 3 to 6 years because their arbitration is 3 to 6 years after between 3 to 6 years after their first full major league season, and for some of these guys, they may be under contract with the Padres till 2027. So I think Machado, between all three of these, between Machado and Harper, I think Machado has the best chance, especially because the Dodgers are getting older. That team maybe has 1 or 2 years left. The Giants aren't anything much right now. I think it could be the Padres and the Rockies that could compete for that West for a while.
I agree.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
People were really judging Machado for signing with the Padres because he could sign with the Brewers or the Phillies or the Yankees, some team that could win now. But I think that was the smartest decision he could have made. He got his money, and then in the long run, they've got at least like 7 starting pitching prospects to go along with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
I mean, number 1 rated farm system in the majors. So
Yeah, which is why like a lot of guys thought that he was going to go, and I mean, I'm right in the thick of it here. I'm only like an hour and a half away from Chicago. I'm in Rockford, so I hear all these Sox fans going nuts, and everybody. It was a done deal. He's going to the Sox. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
And their prospects are they're coming, but they've had some setbacks with some of the injuries to their pitching in the farm system. Like now Dunning just had Tommy John, I believe. So it's not all roses. I mean, there's a lot of ifs in their system still, but they still have a really bright future, and I think that made sense for him to go there. But obviously, I mean, he went with the money, and the Sox weren't offering what he wanted. They were doing they tried to do a type of bonus deal, like incentive deal, and it's like once you get later on in the contract, so it would have actually paid him more money if he would have hit those incentives. But for guys that are that age, I think he had to have so many. I'm not sure exactly what the incentives were, but he had to hit some marker, and it was later on in his contract. So, and the odds of doing that, it wasn't, the guys that are that age, they don't really hit that marker. So he wanted the guaranteed money, and he wanted the prospects with it. So I think it was a good decision for him.
Well, that was the thing with Harper. They talked about the contract with him in the Nationals. It was going to be one of those Bobby Bonilla type of contracts where the Nationals were going to pay out Harper until he was 60, and he didn't want that type of deal. He wanted the money now, and I think that's one of the big reasons why he signed with Philly. And I think also that too was they gave him the 13 years. I don't think any other team was even around that area. I heard 10 from the Giants. I heard 10 from the Giants. I think the Dodgers were only going to give him like 5 or 6. I think at the most they were going to give him 6. But he wanted, not only did he want the money, obviously, but he wanted the years. So because he even said he wants to be one team for the rest of his career, and I think that's what brought him to Philadelphia.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
Yeah. And then moving on, like with like other free agents, Styles Keuchel, it's crazy that he's still not signed.
Craig Kimbrell, too.
Like Kimbrell, but like obviously the Brewers have talked to him, but he's still not officially signed yet. Like,
didn't he say something like he was gonna? I don't believe it. I didn't believe it when I heard it, but didn't he say something about he would be okay with sitting out this entire year? I mean,
really?
Yeah, I think something. I think there was rumors about that. I'm not 100% sure. I think he said he was.
Who's going to give him $100 million for a reliever?
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
especially for
Chapman
like 6
got
or
100
years too.
Chapman got 136.
Yeah.
But he wants 200, and I don't think he's going to get that. That's a lot.
That's
you wanted 200?
Yeah, from what I heard, Kimbrell wanted 200.
Stupid money.
That's way too much.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because people been rumoring it to maybe the Cubs because they need some bullpen help with the injuries and stuff, and they really don't have a solid bullpen. They decent, but not solidified by any means in the back end.
Yeah.
And but that's just crazy. First of all, they don't have the money for it, and they're not going to spend the money on it. And I mean, if he wants $200 million, you could just that leaves very few teams that are actually in the market for him.
That leaves no one's going to sign him for $200 million.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he's kidding.
He's not going to be signed this year.
And it's not like he's 25 or 26 either. What is he, 30? He's not like.
No. What, is he 30?
Yes. He should be in his 30s.
Yeah.
Really? I know that he's the youngest closer to hit his marker of saves, though. So, I mean, like, if you look at it that way, I mean, he's on pace to actually, if all things considered, I mean, you're not going to, most of the time, you're not going to play like as lengthy of a career as Mariano Rivera did, but he's on record or on pace to smash his record.
Yeah, but we saw a little bit of regression from Kimbrell last year. Not that last year was a bad year, but it definitely wasn't like his other years. Like, I went to some Yankees Red Sox games and saw him pitch, and he just didn't have the same stuff he had 3-4 years ago. He's just like, I'm not saying he's falling off or anything, but last year was definitely like an insight as to what could be to come.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not the same guy who he was in Atlanta at all. In Atlanta, I think he was hands down one of the most dominant relievers in the league total. And again, he's still, if any team could have the chance to pick him up, I think they would.
Yeah.
But again, for that amount of money.
Yeah, he would be there if it wasn't for the money. Like
absolutely. And I mean, does anybody know why Keuchel hasn't signed anything yet? Has he been given any offers? Or
I feel like. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't think I really heard much about any offers.
People were worried about injury history from him, and he also wanted too much money, just like Kimbrell. No one was willing to sign him to a lengthy deal worth a lot of money, especially with the lingering shoulder injury.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and like you guys said, I mean, I think Gio said, the regression part of it with Kimbrell. I mean, Keuchel he's not as dominant as people really thought that he was, when he had that real breakout year. And it's like, are you paying for past performance? And like, that's the thing. I mean, that's kind of the whole thing with modern day sports in itself, not just baseball, but like guys, and the NFL seems to be doing a good job of it with, as far as, they're paying for future. They're not really paying as much for past performance. And when it comes to baseball, they're kind of getting there, but there's still, those veterans that are just like, and they hold the market so long too. And I'm not saying Machado or Harper by any means, because those guys are in their prime. Those guys are young. But, and Keuchel, he's not old, but it's just like, are you paying for past performance? Or are you paying for what is expected of him? And what is expected of Keuchel, I wouldn't necessarily say is, I don't think it's Cy Young stuff. I think
he's 31 years old. He's not even. I thought he was more like 29. He's 31, and I'd say he was like the fourth best pitcher in the rotation for Houston last year. Granted, that's a really strong rotation, but he didn't have a great year. He had a 3.74 ERA. He only struck out 6.7 guys per nine. It's just a lot different than what we saw in 2015 when he won the Cy Young. He's not going to get the big money that he wants at 31 and coming off the year he had.
I mean, you got to even say that with Gio Gonzalez. He took the deal with the Yankees. It's a minor league deal, and he even said this was the only deal he was given. This was the only deal offered him, was this deal from the Yankees. So it's not about anymore. It's not any about the past. It's what can you do for me now. And it's not going to be like, a few years ago when people were giving a 30-year-old Pujols 10 years, or same thing, a 30-year-old Miguel Cabrera 10 years. Those days are done. Those days are done.
Look at how much that hindered them too. So I think, organizations are getting smarter in the fact that, they see how badly it affected the teams that did that. The Angels have been hindered. Obviously the Tigers have been hindered with the Cabrera thing. And they're just getting smarter. They're getting wiser. They don't want to invest that. And I had an interesting thing about Kimbrel too. For his career, this is just crazy. I was just thinking about this, and I knew it, but I had to look it up right now. 333 saves, and the amount of hits given up, 285. He's got more saves, substantial amount than hits given up. That's crazy for me.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
How many innings? How many career innings does he have?
Let me look at that real quick. Hit it up here. Career innings, 532 and 2/3.
That's nice. Yeah, that's
wow.
If I can look, we can look it up right here.
It's still not $200 million though.
No. It's not. But you know what? He's been a model. He's been the model of consistency. He might not have been as dominant with the Red Sox, or hasn't been as dominant with the Red Sox as he was in his heyday with the Braves, but he's still a damn good reliever.
Oh, definitely.
Damn good.
Yeah.
Does anybody do you think any team is looking at his performance in the playoffs last year? He got the saves that he needed. He didn't blow any saves, but there were a lot of Red Sox fans were feeling a little tight on some of those innings he pitched. Do you think that could be something?
I feel like it could be something. Like he definitely wasn't performing at his best throughout the postseason.
Yeah.
Like he definitely could have showed more in that whole postseason.
It was patchy. But obviously, postseason's a whole different animal. So I don't think it's almost like judging Kershaw. Like nobody's not going to take Kershaw. Maybe now because it seems like he's declining, but nobody wouldn't have taken Kershaw in his prime, dominating for a whole full season, and up with his postseason stuff, because you're still getting the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
So,
you can't say that about David Price. David Price wasn't a good postseason pitcher up until this past postseason, and he's still got 171 million. So,
right, exactly. That's and David Price. That goes back to his Rays days, I believe. He,
that first run he did when he came out of the bullpen. That was kind of established him, but then as he became a starter in the postseason, his postseason numbers as a starter aren't well up until this past postseason.
Yeah, that's something you definitely have to consider though when you're evaluating as far as your value and how much you want to pay somebody. That's for sure.
And let's look at it now that. A big example is Aaron Nola and Luis Severino. they don't want these young guys going to arbitration anymore. And instead, they're giving them extensions.
Yeah.
So I think teams are looking at now, well, we have young guys in our farm system. How about because they gave less money to Nola and Severino, average year salary, than they would for this 1 year of arbitration. So the players are having that, all right, I'm locked in for 4 years. And the club is happy because now they pay them less per year than they would in their arbitration years. So everyone's happy now. So now I think other clubs are going to look at, well, let's keep our young guys rather than go out and pick up the big veterans.
Wait,
Yeah.
well,
And
yeah,
then yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, yeah, like you said, it was a good deal for both sides. Both of them staying locked up for a while, but the clubs really got good deals out of both Severino and Nola. Both of them. Severino's only making $10 million a year, and he's an ace. And Nola's making just over 10, and he's a potential Cy Young player. And we got Chris Sale getting these crazy extensions, and like he's still completely dominant. Not in the postseason and when it's important, he's still dominant, but he's not as young as these guys, and he's still getting this crazy money that's not really pressing.
I think a lot of that falls into too. I mean, we see the trend. I mean, we see how many guys are getting extensions. I mean, you look down the list. You got Trout. Obviously they wanted to lock up Trout. You got Arenado. I think Goldie.
Yeah.
Who else? I'm missing a bunch of.
Verlander just got his extension.
Yeah, Verlander. I think I have a list here somewhere.
But Snell, I think he said the other day.
Snell.
50 million.
50 million, yeah.
And just look at it from this point. I think players are – it's a two-way street. So players are thinking, well, maybe I should just get my money now because – but it's also taking away – the organizations are like, well, you know, they're going to be asking for more of a premium, and then we're going to get into a bidding war with these other teams, and we don't want to do that. Let's lock these guys up now and maybe pay less per year. Lock these guys up now. And, Trout, I mean, I have no question. I think, what was his contract? Like $426 million?
Yeah. 430.
435?
Yeah, 430 something.
12 and 435,
yeah.
I believe, off the top of my head.
So, I mean, I have no question. I think he could have got $500 million.
Yeah.
You know, he waits till next year. He's getting that $500 million. Somebody's paying that. I mean, it's a premium, but you're paying for the best player in baseball. So, but I think, obviously there's a lot of things to consider there too, because you have the Harper, he wants to end with a team that it's like the same thing as Harper. He wants to end with a team that stick with the team forever.
Yeah. The one crazy thing was the White Sox, though, extending Jimenez when he hasn't even made his debut yet.
Yeah. That was the most ever, right?
That was it was a option deal.
Yeah.
So I believe it was 6 years with a 2-year option. So, but yeah, they definitely. So I think it could be up to. And I mean, I'm working on the article right now, and Johnny's probably like, he's biting his nails, and he's ready to get on a plane and come kick my ass because I'm not done with this article yet. But I'm working on the White Sox preview, and I think it was 77 mil is what it could be up to, and with the options. Wow. But that's. I mean, look at nothing tells them that this guy's going to be a bust. I mean, he should rake at the big league level, but you just don't know. I mean, he's unproven. He hasn't played he hasn't had a pitch. He hasn't even seen a pitch yet. But I think that falls into it. I mean, they wanted, so it was the extra year. If they would have held him out till, I don't know the exact date, but late April, mid-April, if they would have held him down in the minors, which is what they were planning on doing without this extension, because they optioned him originally, and then now he's expected to be on the opening day roster after this.
Yeah,
but,
I would expect.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to be there. Sox fans are pissed off already about the Machado thing. They need something to get excited about this season, and it's not their team itself.
No.
So,
I mean, again, the AL Central. I mean, everyone's saying the Indians can rest their players for 162 games and still win the title.
No,
but you do have the Indians, but everybody else in that team, that division's lumped in the middle. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. I mean, we got Johnny, who's a big Twins fan, but I think they really, realistically, they could make some noise in the Sox. Who knows? You get bounce backs from you get real breakouts from Moncada, and if Abreu bounces back nicely, he dealt with injuries last year. You got the starting pitching that's a real big concern.
Yeah, like if talking about the AL Central and how everyone thinks it's the Indians, if you look at the Indians roster, there's really not much to bat an eye at except their starting rotation and then Francisco Lindor and Jose Ramirez. Like their outfield right now from left to right. Jordan Luplow, who's been terrible in the majors. Who knows how good he'll be. Leonis Martin, who's like solid, but he's not great. And then Tyler Naquin, who hasn't done anything at all. And then in the infield, you got Jake Bauers at first base, who's good prospect, but he's totally unproven. And then they just signed Brad Miller at second base. I don't know if he's going to start or what's happening there. Or Kipnis.
He'll fill in.
They got Kipnis too. And then at catcher, it's like Roberto Perez again. But other than that, other than the two guys, they're really not that good. And you look at the Twins, and the Twins are really well-rounded team, actually. Like, their rotation is pretty underrated. They got Barrios, Kyle Gibson, Pineda. And then they also made moves in the offseason, getting Scope, Marwin Gonzalez.
Yeah, they're one of my dark horses this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're at least contending for that division. Oh yeah, I agree with you. They're not as scary as people thought with the Indians, and I think the Twins could really make some noise in that division if they get hot and stay hot compared to just kind of fizzling out as they usually do.
Like the American League in itself, though, I'm excited to watch the National League. I even kind of think every team in the National League has a possible chance to be in the playoffs and even make it to the NLCS besides the Marlins and the Giants. I think those are the only two that I'm not going to give any chance to this season.
I'd say the Diamondbacks too.
I think the Diamondbacks. I'm not even gonna push it. Even though the Diamondbacks got rid of Goldie and Corbin and those guys, I still think they're. I think everybody in that National League is almost on the same playing field. You might have, I think the Phillies are going to rise a little bit. Phillies, Atlanta, and then I think the Cardinals. I think those are going to be the top three, but I think everybody else is on a even playing field. So I think for the most part, going into like late August, early September, I still think there's that for those final two wild card spots, everybody's going to be grouped together. I think everybody's going to be between 1 to 3 games of each other.
Chris Bryant, obviously,
and I agree with you in there because I mean, for the most part, the reason why the Cubs, the Cubs finished second place last year in the Central, and they got that final wild card spot. The only reason I think they didn't capture that Central was because everybody was hurt last year. Including Darvish, Rizzo was hurt, Bryant was hurt. Everybody on that team was hurt last year at some point. So I think if the team does stay healthy, I think that they're definitely going to compete for that Central. But the Cardinals have made huge. Getting Goldschmidt. The Cardinals up and down their line, one of the worst fielding teams in the majors last year. But now you pick up a 3-time Gold Glove winner in Goldschmidt, and just that bat in the middle of that lineup. They now have that big bat, and then you have guys like Rubles and Ozuna. In the middle of that lineup. That lineup has major pop.
Yeah, Joe Hines with the Scarecrow. He just had a really good article on he was talking about Goldie, and he's just a lifetime Cubs killer. So not that means anything because you're facing different pitchers every year, but absolutely murders the Cubs.
And now he's going to play them 19 times every year. So
yeah, that's great for us.
My
looking forward to it.
So excited.
I'm telling you, I think the Central is going to be the only. I think the Central is the only division where you really can't. I don't think there's going to be an under 500 team. I think everybody's.
I disagree with
maybe
that.
the Pirates. I think the Pirates are the only team that really didn't improve.
I think the Reds have a chance too because there's a lot of uncertainty with them. They slopped a lot of guys together, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to work.
You're stealing my thunder there, Joey. I was just about to talk about that.
I was actually.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Don't hold back.
I was just gonna say the Reds are my dark horse team this year. I did their preview, and they've really put good pieces together. Last year, their rotation was one of the worst in baseball, but this year they've added Alex Wood, Sonny Gray, and Tanner Roark, who aren't top of the line guys. They really improved that rotation.
Yeah, speaking of Sonny Gray, I think he's going to be like one of the comeback player of the year candidates. Just because he was on the Yankees and he's going to go to a different team and be like amazing.
I'm a Yankee fan, so like you don't even know how. You don't know how painful it was watching Sonny Gray pitch as a Yankee fan.
Yeah, that was awful.
A lot of his, I don't know. I don't really have faith in that either because he's going. I mean, it could happen. Obviously, he's got talent. But you're going to a worse ballpark for pitchers too. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's not worse than Yankee. I mean, again, you go from Yankee State. Maybe the numbers do hold work because he did come from the Coliseum, which is one of the best pitcher ballparks in baseball, to Yankee Stadium, one of the worst, and now he is going to Cincinnati, another one of the worst.
Yeah,
but I think it also has a lot to do with the fact that I don't think he's a big. I don't think he was a big market guy. Let's hope to see maybe he's going to be more of a leader, and he wasn't a leader in that in the Yankees.
No way.
He was a leader with the Oakland. And then he kind of had to go to New York to be more of a supportive guy. And maybe that's not who he is. He wants to be a leader. And I think now with this Cincinnati team, he could be that again. And then maybe it's just a rejuvenation for him.
Yeah, that whole I don't know if you guys read that whole thing about him, like how he said that they were making me throw sliders and I wasn't feeling it or whatever. Like
I read that.
Yeah, I read that too. Yeah.
Yeah, like that whole thing was just like stupid. Like if you don't want to throw this, like if the Yankees, I think really I'm blaming more Rothschild because Rothschild didn't like help him at all. Like it was more. Rothschild isn't the best pitching coach.
No, not at all.
Like he doesn't help the pitchers out as much as he should. Like honestly, David Cohen should be the pitching coach for the Yankees.
Yeah, I second that.
I would love that.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say, that Central is absolutely though. It's a really tough division though. I mean, that it's gonna be really competitive all throughout. I mean, you can't forget about the Brewers either because the Brewers they've made a lot of moves in this offseason that. I mean, they brought back Moustakas. They brought in Grandal.
Their rotation still sucks.
Yeah, it does. But if it's even serviceable. With the amount of thump that they have, they can still make some noise.
The Pirates are the clear outlier in this division. Like they're not a bad team. If they were in a different division, like the AL Central, they might be competing for first place, honestly. But stuck in this division, I don't see them having a chance at even getting out of the basement with the team they have right now.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to be the last place team in this division this year.
What do you guys? So what do you guys? What's your predictions? Everybody's predictions for the.
That'll be a good spot to go into that.
Yeah.
So I'll just start off. I'll go with my division predictions. The AL East. Obviously, as a Yankees fan, even though I'm not being biased, they're definitely really good. They're gonna win the division. But I have surprising pick here. Finishing second place is gonna be the Tampa Bay Rays. The Boston Red Sox. Their bullpen, if you look at their bullpen, they're not gonna. Their bullpen is gonna be shit this year, and
somebody's getting heated on the other side.
Chris. I'm sorry, but Chris Sale is a good pitcher, but he's not gonna last all year. He's gonna do what he did last year and then fall off at the end, but then I do have the Red Sox getting that second wild card spot. It's gonna be the Red Sox and Rays in the wild card game. And then I have Toronto, obviously, and then Baltimore.
What a joke.
I have them winning probably 50 games.
I have them winning 38.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
38.
All right, and then
real quick. Can we just go over the Orioles rotation? They have Alex Cobb, Dylan Bundy, and
he's starting opening day.
Yeah.
Cobb. Oh my God,
Alex Cobb, and then they have David Hess and Mike Wright Jr. That's the rotation. That's like a AAA rotation.
Yeah,
who signed up for their preview? That's what I want to know.
That's what I said.
They can make it. They can make literally a bullpen out of the They can make a pitching rotation and a bullpen for a AAA team out of the Red Sox and Orioles.
And they have Chris Davis at first base still.
You're not wrong.
Oh man,
Yeah,
we're gonna get so much hate for that. We're bashing the hell out of them.
I don't care. But I'm just gonna read off. I'm gonna read off the Red Sox bullpen right now. Let me see. Where is the tweet? All right,
You might want to mute yourself.
now I just lost it. Oh, there it is. All right, Matt Barnes, Ryan Brazier, Heath Embry, Tyler Thornburg, Brandon Workman, Colton Brewer, Brian Johnson, and Hector Velasquez.
Are we putting it past them to bring back Kimbrel?
Yeah.
There's no shot. No.
Yeah, pretty much the Red Sox.
I mean, I agree with you, Alex. I think I think the Yankees win the division, as much as that hurts me to say internally. I think because the bullpen, the Sox will come in second. And
I have the Yankees at 101 wins. And then the Rays are gonna. I think the Rays are gonna be pretty tight with the Yankees. It's gonna be a 3-year race. Obviously, the Yankees, Rays, Red Sox will be tight all year, and it's gonna come down to maybe a couple games, the last game, maybe the last game of the season even.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Charlie Morton. I love that.
Yeah, Morton's a candidate for dark horse MVP or Cy Young, I think.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
And then I'm gonna go on to the AL Central. I'm gonna have Cleveland winning with 96 wins, but then Minnesota in second place. White Sox, Tigers, and Kansas City. Kansas City is gonna have 60 wins. AL West, Houston's gonna run away with that division, but I think Angels are gonna come kind of close, but just fall short. And then Oakland, Seattle, Texas.
Oakland was a 1-year wonder.
Yeah, they're gonna. I think they still have 80 wins, maybe 85.
I don't think that they're getting close to that. To be honest, I think their offense is good though.
Yeah,
I like their offense.
Their starting rotation is absolute crap.
Yeah.
But
we say this every year about Oakland.
Yeah,
and they somehow find a way with guys that you never even heard of. And they end up winning, 85, 87 games, and they slip into that wild card spot. And again, there's 2 wild card spots now. You don't need. You could probably in the AL. I think 85 wins could probably get one of those wild card spots.
Yeah.
I don't know with the Yankees and Red Sox and then the Rays. I don't know if 85 would be good enough.
That division itself, the NL East, might get both wild cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my pick. So yeah. So do you guys want to go into your picks for the AL, and then we can do the NL afterwards?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So who wants to go first?
Jamie.
You can jump in whenever you want. Whatever.
Go before Gio so that you don't cut him off again.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go. With the East, like I said, I agree with that. I would probably flip flop the Sox and the Rays. I think probably the Sox come in second, but I think it's gonna be a 3-game. Gap, but I think because of the whole bullpen, the Yankees get first. For the Central, I think the Indians at first, and then the Twins behind them. And then for the West, I like the Angels a lot, assuming that their pitching, stays healthy. But I think that the A's are going to fall down just because you look at that rotation, Fires is your ace right now. So I don't think, they win 90 games again.
Yeah, I also have the Yankees winning the AL East. I have them winning 104 games. I have the Red Sox coming in second. It's going to be close-ish, but I have the Yankees winning by 7 games, winning the division. And then the Rays also have the second wild card for me, too, just like Alex. And then in the Central, I actually have the Twins winning the division because I think they're the better, most well-rounded team all over. And Indians are actually going to miss the playoffs. Then I have I just realized I didn't say the East, 4th and 5th, Blue Jays and Orioles. And then in the Central,
you don't have to mention that.
Yeah. in the Central, I got 3rd.
Yeah, we all know who's gonna finish last. So.
Yeah, it's fine. Bypass.
3rd for the White Sox, 4th for the Royals, 5th for the Tigers in the Central, and then for the AL West, they got the Astros absolutely running away with the division, and then The Angels in second, A's in third, Mariners in fourth, Rangers last.
That's interesting about the. I think Soupy's next, but go ahead.
All right. I would say for the AL East, I'm actually torn between the Yankees and the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox wish they had the Yankees bullpen. Yankees wish they had the Red Sox starting rotation. I canceled those out. So I think by pure, I think the lineup, I give that in favor of the Yankees. So I'm going to give it a slight favor for the Yankees taking the division. And then again, it all depends. Like right now, you already got CC, Severino, Hicks, but everybody's getting hurt. So we'll see how that goes. But I think right now I'm going to give the slight advantage to the Yankees. And then I will give Tampa, I have coming in third. And I think actually I'm going to give Boston and Tampa those 2 wild card spots. Again, I think it's just right now the 4 teams, I'll just say the 4 teams in the AL are Boston, New York, Houston, and I think Tampa. I think those are the only 2 teams that have any kind of chance to do anything in the playoffs. And then I give fourth to Baltimore. I think they're gonna have I'm gonna go that. And then I think Toronto's gonna be so bad that they're just gonna bring up all their young guys. And I think that's going to be the only reason why you're even going to want to watch a Toronto at all.
But Toronto's young guys are better than the Orioles veterans. So
true.
That's true.
You got Vlad, and what's his situation right now exactly?
Something to he'll probably. I would say he'll probably start in the minors, and then he'll probably start in AAA, and then he'll probably get called up early, and he'll probably do the same thing like they do with some of the other players.
Yeah.
Start him in AAA and then bring him up like 5 days later, just so it's not considered a full season, and they have an extra year of under control for that player.
Yeah, it's usually like May or something.
No, it's
maybe or April.
It's like April. It's like April 15th or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's only like Chris Bryant, the Cubs, they did that with them too. And
yeah, they did.
Regret it.
They did with Torres and Andor last year too. The Yankees.
Yep.
What about Bo Bichette?
Bo Bichette, I would say Bo Bichette probably too. I think Vlad gets called up early because Vlad's ready. Vlad's already ready. Even though he's super young, he's ready. I think Bichette probably later in the summer. I don't think he's going to be an immediate call up.
No.
But you think he is getting called up this year? I think he is.
Yeah, I think he's going to get called up probably after the All-Star break.
Okay.
I think at some point. I think at some point Bichette comes up.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be a stud too.
I do too.
Was it Toronto that could have an entire infield? Is it Toronto that could have an entire infield of with
Suns?
Yeah, second generation players.
Yeah, they got
too.
Yep. Yeah. Somebody else.
And then for my central, I'm gonna go Minnesota. I'm gonna go with a dark horse in Minnesota. Again, like Cleveland, I think you have pieces here. They have a strong rotation, but besides that, I don't believe that they're going to be the team. I don't think they're going to run away with the division that everyone thinks is going to happen. So I'm going to put Minnesota first, Cleveland second, Detroit third, Chicago fourth, and Chicago third, Detroit fourth, and then the Royals coming in last. And then in the West, you got to give it to Houston. I don't know who else would even come close. At best, I think the Angels will have the opportunity to compete, but I just think the Houston just all around has the best all around talented team in the American League. I think
maybe even in the entire league.
Yeah, I would even go in the entire league. They have the rotation, they have the bullpen, they have the lineup. Up 1 through 9, you have hitters. 1 through 5 in the rotation, you have pitchers. I think they're the best all-around team in the probably in baseball. And then I will go Angels second. I honestly think that's going to be a close race. And then I'm going to pick Oakland third, Seattle fourth, and then Texas coming in last.
All right, Joey.
I think I'll start with the West then, because before we just left off.
Yeah.
But I really think that, well, obviously, just like what you just said, I mean, it's clearly the best team in that division is the Astros, and maybe all of baseball. It's not even close, really. Their pitching staff, everything. There's everything about them. They're just runaways. But I mean, anything can happen, barring injuries, obviously. So you can't just say that they're penciled in to win the division. But I got them one, and I got the Angels two as well, because I really think that the additions they made, and then I think that they can do some things. I don't know about their pitching exactly. I don't 100% trust it, but I think that they can finish second and possibly contend for a wild card too. Although I don't have them winning a wild card spot, but anything can happen. You get hot late, something could happen. They could definitely get like the second wild card spot, I think. And then third, I actually have the Mariners. I think a lot of you guys had the A's as third, but I think the Mariners are better than the A's, and I expect the A's to kind of slip back a little bit this year. I just don't. I know, they're not terrible, but you got Mike Fiers, like that's your number one. Like, I just don't. I don't know. I don't trust that. Like, you have Trinan at the back end, but who's getting them the ball? I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of question marks with them, and so I think that
too. The first series in Japan kind of showed how. Not that 2 games means anything a lot in the long run, but I mean, it was a pretty good showing for Seattle offensively and with the pitch. They look solid and they look better than Oakland, at least in those 2 games. So it shows that they'll at least compete for third.
Yeah, and they have upside too. I mean, because you look at Kikuchi. I mean, I think he's a candidate to really compete for even Rookie of the Year.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, he's got just such nasty stuff. I don't know if you guys saw the GIFs or whatever of him. I mean, obviously, if you just watch the game, but just like even the Twitter GIFs that were out there, it was like, man, this slider is freaking nasty. So if he can put it together and actually, I mean, he's got more potential, I think, than anybody in the rotation of the A's. So. I would say that they have a good shot to get third. I know Seager's down right now too, but I think they moved Ryan Healy to third base for the time being.
Mm-hmm. And then they got they have one of the best pitching prospects in baseball in that trade with the Yankees. They got Justice Sheffield now.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be up with the team to start the season, but I think at some point he's going to be in that rotation.
Yeah, I don't expect him to be up like right away, but he could be up soon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was actually listening to another podcast too, and where he was featured on it, and he's been working on some things that obviously he feels really good about. But he has so much potential, man. I think, if he gets called up, and he just gives him an automatic boost if he starts out, on a good note, because we know how it went with the Yankees and it wasn't very good, but he's got the upside of, anybody pretty much as far as starting pitching goes. So, but yeah, I think after that, because you got the A's fourth, and I actually think that the Rangers, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a hot take, I guess, because I think that the Rangers have potential to pass them up, and that might sound crazy, but I don't think that their offense is something to really play with, and especially the ballpark that they play in. I mean, I don't think their offense is Gallo. Yeah, I mean, you got 200 hitting Joey Gallo, but he's hitting like 445 bombs a year. So it's like, I think they really have potential there. And you look across the diamond, I think Odor's gonna bounce back, and then Andrus as well. Guzman, I don't know. He can't really. Obviously, he's a left-handed hitter, so he has trouble with lefties. But he really, I don't know. He doesn't really scare me as far as as far as he goes. But
You know what doesn't scare me? The Rangers' ace is Mike Minor. So
yeah. He pitched. You know what though? He pitched damn good last year, and he had a couple of years off where he wasn't even a starting pitcher. So I mean, maybe he figured something out. I don't know, but I think he's more trade bait. Honestly, I think they're hoping that he pitches well early on in first half of the season, and then they're going to kind of try to flip him. Maybe the same thing with Shin Soo Choo. But there's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a chance to get flipped as well. And I would really look for Taylor Hearn to make his debut this year. And I think he's got, that's a pitching prospect that he grew up a diehard Rangers fan. And he's just, not that means anything, but he's something that really I think Rangers fans will latch on to, and I think he's got a chance to be pretty good. So not that, you could just be replacing one starter for the other if you're getting rid of Minor, and, it's his rookie year too, so I wouldn't expect huge things from him when he gets called up, but it definitely has potential. So don't forget about
Nomar Mazara too. Nomar Mazara is a really great young player. He's only 23, and he hit 260 with 20 bombs last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you got Leclerc at the back end and some decent. Really, the way that they put the bullpen together, they're pretty solid throughout. It's not really. I mean, they've got some guys that took their sweet ass time to get to the show. But once getting there, I don't know. They're looking okay, but I don't know. We'll see. I still have them penciled in as in last, but yeah, I don't see them passing the A's, but it could happen. This is just something to throw out there. And then in the Central, I know you guys were saying Twins too, maybe passing up the Indians. I still think it's the Indians. I don't know how we can throw them away, even though they really don't have the thump as much as they've. I mean, with the injuries too, they're dealing with injuries. The back end, they have Hand, but they don't have much leading up to him. But their starting pitching is just so good that you can keep the games close. You can keep it, somewhat low scoring. They can do some things. So I think they're still the favorites. They might even win the division with 86 wins.
Yeah.
86, 87 wins. I think the Twins are second, and they're obviously going to make a run for it, I think. We've got the Sox third, and big things expected from some of the young guys coming up. Obviously, Eloy, you don't know exactly what to expect, though, but they're hoping, and that they're still, a year or two away. So I got them third. The Tigers, I actually have them last, and I have the Royals passing them.
Yeah, me too.
So I think they can steal some wins because of their speed and, guys like Ryan O'Hearn. I mean, I did the preview. Yeah. I did the preview for the Royals for the Scorecrow, and I think guys like Ryan O'Hearn, he really came on strong towards the end of last year, and if you prorate some of his numbers, he should hit over 30 bombs. And I mean, I'm not saying that he will, but him and guys like Adalberto Mondesi, I mean, he had 32 stolen bases in half a season. So obviously, and hitting good average, playing good shortstop.
Decent power too.
Yeah, decent power for sure. And actually, they don't really see that kind of power in Kansas City from the shortstop position. Well, they just have good speed at the top and at the bottom, and they acquired Billy Hamilton. They've got Mondesi, but then they also have we can't forget about Whit Merrifield that they had the extension with, who's not really young, but he's been very effective. He's one of the best second basemen in the game at this point right now. So yeah, I think obviously they're pitching. I like Brad Keller though. He came on strong too, and his strikeout rate actually increased substantially towards the end of the season.
Junis too.
Junis, yeah, he needs to get more consistent, but he's a guy, he
Homer Bailey's the biggest throwaway in that rotation. He has just sucked with the Reds year after year. I can't believe he's even starting in a rotation right
Who's
now.
that?
Homer Bailey.
Oh yeah.
Did he make the rotation?
They have him listed as the 5th starter.
Holy
Dude,
crap!
wow.
I wasn't
He-
expecting him to make it.
He literally has the worst name for a pitcher. Like
That's ridiculous. Yeah, he gives so many homers that
Wait, guys. He was 1-14 with a 6.09 ERA last year.
There's no way.
No.
I don't know. When
Oh
I
my
was
God.
writing that up, I just thought he's just there to kind of talk to people and in spring
I would
training
not
and
talk to him.
why not?
1-14.
Oh my God. I'm actually like, I had to make sure you were right on that. I'm looking at it. Yeah, he's 1-14.
that's insane.
It's
Oh my
ridiculous. I mean,
Oh my
they had some
God.
other guys that were in competition for that 5th spot, and I can't think right off the top of my head, but it's just not. I think it was Phil Meyer was one of them, and I think Lopez was the other one. And they're young guys. You got to give them a shot. You know what Homer Bailey is at this point. I mean, I don't understand.
The Reds did, and they gave him like 140 mil.
I don't understand.
He threw that like one no hitter, and then like he was like loved.
One no hitter and 10 bombs later after the next game, probably.
Yeah.
The sad thing is his real name's not even Homer. It's David, so that's his nickname.
Oh
Why,
my
as a
God.
fan,
Why is that his nickname?
Why would you want your nickname to be Homer as a pitcher?
He wanted to play in the National League and hit some bombs. That's what he wanted.
That's
I don't get it.
Oh
He
man.
definitely gave up.
I don't get it. Anyways, all right. So the National League East, I've got the Yankees. They're number one. I didn't do any win totals for any of these teams going into this, but I think they're just so talented. I think I think they're going to win the division. I think Judge playing a full year. I think that makes a big difference. What did he play, like 112 games or something like that last year? So
yeah.
that makes a big difference. I mean, he could. Well, he's going to hit some bombs, but then I've got the Red Sox second, and I just think you just can't overlook their lineup. And I mean, their starting pitching's not bad. There's bullpen issues and et cetera, but you're in the National League East, and I don't know. I like the pitching for the Rays, but I've got them third. I like their lineup too, but I don't know. I mean, you need some things to go right there for them to really push, and I think they will get the second wild card though. I think it's Red Sox first wild card, and I think it's the Rays second wild card. But and then I'm not going to talk about the other two teams. It's Toronto and
They're not good. They're good.
They're
it's not good. I mean, you know what? You got some things to look forward to if you're a fan of those teams, but I'm not. So
Yeah, the Orioles fans have futures sitting in the bar all night watching their team lose. They're not.
They shouldn't be named.
you know what? I'll meet them there. I'll meet them there. I'll hang out with them because I feel bad for not really talking about them, and we'll just have some beers together, and we'll watch Dylan Bundy try to be effective. So, or Alex Cobb.
Hey, I'll go to Camden Yards all day. That's a beautiful stadium.
I've
I love
been
it.
there.
I love that stadium.
Yeah, I've never been there, but it looks pretty beautiful. I've heard great things about it. So,
Yeah,
It is very nice.
it's beautiful.
but I don't know, you guys. Who's starting out the National League here?
I guess I'll go with that again since I start off the AL. The NL East was kind of a toss-up for me. I started off thinking maybe the Phillies would take that, but I kind of flip-flopped them. I think the Braves win that division again, and but the Phillies get second place. They barely missed out at first. I think it's gonna be like a 1 or 2 game difference. And then I have the Nationals in third, Mets in fourth, and Miami obviously in last. So I think, yeah, I mean, there's not really any question of what the Marlins are going to do this year. They're not going to do anything. They literally have no one on their team anymore. So like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
but like,
I think they're breaking camp with like 7 starting pitchers,
Yeah.
which I don't even know if we know any of their. I mean, they're not really like good starting pitchers. You got Urania and I don't know whatever else.
They got Chen. It was with Baltimore like 4 years ago, I think.
Oh my!
Oh yeah.
Is he even still on the team? They have him in the bullpen on the depth chart. Sam.
Yeah, that's that. I think he's one of the other two. that's in the bullpen. So I don't know, but
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah, I just don't. You don't talk about him anymore.
Yeah, but I think a lot of Mets, again, the Mets fans are thinking that it's going to be a good year again. But I don't really see. I think they improve a little bit, but they still finish in fourth because I think the other teams in the division would be too good.
You think they're better than the Nationals right now?
Who, the Mets?
Yeah.
No.
You think the Nationals are better than the Mets?
Yeah, I think they are, but I don't
know about that.
But maybe not better, but I think just the way when the season gets going, I think the Mets just always seem to find a way to not be good.
Mainly, that's their injuries. That's the only Mets problem. It's their injuries. I think the Mets had one of the worst hitting teams last year, but they Wilson Ramos, Cano, Jed Lowry. I know he's hurt right now. We'll see what happens if he comes back. Michael Conforto. I think they're going to be a much improved team. Yeah. And if that rotation stays healthy, that's one of the best rotations in the National League.
I'm actually I think
but you know what? They almost have to prove us wrong at this point. They just can't stay healthy. So it's like they have all the potential in the world and I just I was focusing on them hardcore these last few weeks when I was doing the write-up, but I just don't. They just have to prove us wrong. I mean, they have the potential. I feel like we say this every year. Their rotation could be dominant of all. I mean, they could be the best rotation in baseball every year, but it's like, will they stay healthy? There's always somebody that gets hurt in that rotation.
I'm gonna go out and say that if they do stay healthy, they do finish in third. I think the Mets. I mean the Braves and the Phillies are going to be better than them, but I think they finish in third if they stay healthy. They might fight for a wild card, but I don't think they get it.
You guys are going to hate me when I talk about this division.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Moving on to the NL Central.
I was just looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
The NL Central, I'm gonna have the Cubs. The Cubs are gonna win that again, but I think it's gonna be really, really close between them and the Cardinals.
Doesn't matter. You have them winning. Great.
Yeah,
let's go.
But it's gonna be a really tight race there, and at St. Louis, obviously, I think they're gonna get the first wild card, and then Milwaukee third, Cincinnati fourth, Pittsburgh last. And then the NL West, Dodgers are going to win that again. Rockies, I think the Rockies are going to be really good again and get one of those wild card spots. I think they get the second wild card. And Arizona, they're not going to be as good. They're going to fall off. I see them everything losing Goldschmidt was a big thing. They're not going to be as good, definitely. And
wait,
what?
You have no wild cards coming out of the East?
Wait, what did I have? No, I had
Rockies 2 and Cardinals 1.
Oh wait, no, I had Atlanta. Oh wait, no, I had Philly coming out of the East.
Okay, I didn't know if that's.
No, I had it's Philly. I think I have Philly out of the East, and then I have St. Louis, and that's my wild cards. Yeah, the Colorado's gonna be just short.
Oh, okay.
I just messed that up. San Diego, I think San Diego is going to finish fourth, and because they're young guys and Machado, I think they're going to be good. They're going to be all right this year. They're going to be better than San Francisco. I think San Francisco does pretty bad this year, and I honestly think they sell Bumgarner at the deadline. So that's my NL.
I'll go next if you don't mind.
He's a free agent at the end of the year, right?
And then, as a Yankee fan, I'm really hoping they sell him to the Yankees.
You might not hope that when the season's.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I think he's still mad bum. So
yeah. Once he gets to the playoffs, he's gonna be like that. He's gonna be that guy again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not absolutely. Maybe.
No. I mean, it depends too, because if he goes to the American League, he might not be as effective in the.
True. Yeah. not
right.
pitching those huge parks like he is in the NL West either.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing, I think, for a lot. It's an underrated thing that I don't think people really look as deeply into that as, I mean, you're pitching and not only in San Francisco, but you got San Diego's park, Los Angeles. That's not a real hitter's park. The only real hitter's park, because of the humidor in Arizona, it's not really a hitter's park anymore either, is Coors Field, which is notoriously a hitter's park. But if he were to move divisions, he's obviously gonna move into probably a better hitter's divisional park.
Yeah.
If that even is a thing.
The
I don't know.
humidor might be the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, what do baseball
Yeah.
fans want to see? Less home runs. Good job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's what we're trying. That's why they're eliminating the pitching changes. So just for people to install a humidor, which that was already installed, but yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
All right, so this is gonna piss everyone in here off, but I actually have the Nationals winning the division.
Oh my!
Oh. Ooh.
It's not pissing me off, but it's weird.
No.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a bold.
I people are seriously underrated.
What did he say?
They still have Scherzer's the best pitcher in the game, in my opinion. They've got Strasburg, Corbin, and Anibal Sanchez, all solid pitchers. I don't know about Sanchez, but last year he was good. In the infield, they still have Ryan Zimmerman, who really hasn't slowed down all that much. He's been hurt in and out, but he's still a good player. Then they got Brian Dozier, Trey Turner, and Anthony Rendon in the infield, all guys who could play. Dozier's going to have a better year this year than he did last year. It's almost impossible to be as bad as he was for the Dodgers last year down the stretch. And then the outfield, Juan Soto is amazing. And Victor Robles, he is one of my favorite prospects ever. He's a 5-tool player. He's got elite speed, elite fielding. He can hit for power even. And then Adam Eaton and Wright, who's good when he stays healthy. So they also have Doolittle and Rosenthal and Kyle Bearclaw in the bullpen. So
When Doolittle is healthy,
so much.
Only because I did the Washington Nationals preview for the Scorecrow, I looked at this team, and you know what? I don't know about first place, but I think they're definitely going to be better than anyone's thinking. Everyone's thinking that Harper's gone. Nationals are going to be terrible, but I don't think that's going to be it at all. I think they're actually going to contend this year also.
I agree. It's a four-team race in that division. The Nationals are definitely not as bad as what people think. They literally replaced Harper with a guy that's like one of their top prospects, and Robles is one of the top prospects in the game. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to have a huge season this year, but like you're talking about a guy that's got a power speed combo, and I mean, yeah, they can definitely make some noise this year for sure.
Because I really delved into the three rosters: the Phillies, Nationals, and Braves. And sure, the Phillies got Harper, but Andrew McCutcheon's in left. He was okay for the Yankees and the Giants last year, but he's kind of falling off. Odubel Herrera, I don't think he's good. I think he's just an average player. Michael Franco, he's all right. Gene Segura and Cesar Hernandez, they got good middle infield with Scott Kindry too, and then Hoskins at first and Realmuto behind the plate. But I don't think the rotation's as good. They have Nola, who's great. Arrieta, who's very inconsistent. Nick
I would
Pivetta,
like to differ on Nola too. Actually, I've got some takes on him, but I digress. I don't think he's as good as what people are thinking that he is, and I think that he's also like, I know it's just spring training, but like he's dealing with, I don't know, I think it's like decreased velocity right now, and I don't know. I mean, he hasn't looked sharp. It's just spring training. You don't know what guys are working on exactly unless you talk to them and dive a little deeper. But I don't think he's as good as what everybody thinks that he is. But I think he's a good pitcher. I just don't think he's ace level.
I disagree with you there, but I don't think he's like gonna win the Cy Young this year or anything. But I do think he's a solid ace. But if his velocity is down, that's never a good thing. So you could have a bad year if that's gonna be the case for the whole season.
Yeah, I mean he could still be their ace.
Yeah,
right. Like I just mean like in comparison to other aces in the league, I guess. Because I mean you look at the Cubs and I don't know. I just have to compare it to my team, I guess. But you got John Lester as the ace, and yeah, he's consistently been really good, but I wouldn't even stack him up with other aces in the league. So even if he's just their ace and he's damn good, they still have a really good shot because of their lineup. So
And then I think the Braves too, like they have an okay rotation. Like I like Fultonavich, like he's good. I don't know if he can continue what he did last year into this year because he's been really inconsistent in his career. I think he can. I think he will.
yeah,
He's
he's
their
young
ace.
too, though.
He is, yeah. And then Sean Newcomb too. I like Newcomb. Kevin Gausman, I think he has a worse year than he did last year with the Braves. Because with the Braves, he was good last year, but I think that may have been a fluke. Julio Teheran can't stay healthy, and when he is healthy, he's all right. And then my favorite pitcher in the rotation, other than Fultonavich, I like Tuki Toussaint at number 5. He's a really promising young prospect. He walked way too many batters last year when he pitched, but if he can get that under control, then he's gonna be really good in the future. But I just don't think overall, looking at the bullpen and their lineup, that they compare to the Nationals. Like their bullpen's definitely worse than the Nationals. I'd give the outfield to the Braves, but the infield I'd give to the Nationals and the rotation too. So I think the Nationals are just winning the all-around thing the all-around battle right now, and people are severely underrating them as if Harper made the whole team. And then I have the Mets in 4th and the Marlins in 5th.
Well, people forget too. Harper really had a down year last year. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that I think I expect him obviously to produce more than he did last year with the Phillies this year, but they still contended for the most part last year. I mean, it was pretty much a 2-team race when it came down to it, and then obviously towards the end it was a 1-team race. But that's just they're definitely, you can't just toss them out like they're nothing. They got Scherzer, they got Strasburg, they got pieces.
Yeah.
Mm.
Strasburg hasn't been as consistent lately, but as a fantasy option this year, I love Strasburg, and I really think Strasburg's going to bounce back from his kind of last 2 mediocre-ish years to be more dominant again this year.
Yeah, I mean, fantasy is a whole different ball game. Like when you talk about fantasy, then you have to consider how many starts that he'll actually make. And I mean, usually like a guy like Strasburg, I mean, they tend to even limit him even when he's healthy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, most pitchers in the league they're doing that with now. So it's not really uncommon for them to pull a pitcher after 5 or 6 innings.
Right.
That's just what's happening. But I mean, I don't know. I don't love him when it comes to like fantasy, but I think if you're talking like wins and stuff, he can definitely get you wins, and he'll definitely be significant for the Nationals.
Also, I digress from saying that he was mediocre over the last 2 years, because in 2017 he was really good, but almost won the Cy Young. But in 2016 and in 2018 he struggled more so than he did in the rest of the years in his career.
Yeah.
And then in the Central, I've got the Cubs winning it by – it's pretty close. I didn't do a game total for this, but I'd say they win by – it's going to come down to 2 or 3 games maybe. And I just think their lineup and their starting rotation is really underrated because a lot of them are very inconsistent. Like Jose Quintana, that was a bad trade for the Cubs, but hopefully – that can come into fruition this year. I don't know. He's listed as the number 5 right now, which he's a really good number 5, I think. So.
Oh hell, there's no other number 5 that I can think of on the top of my head that has his pedigree at least.
No. John Lester, Cole Hamels, Yu Darvish, Kyle Hendricks, Jose Quintana. It's an old rotation, but they're all still very solid. It's just solid across the board. And then I was doing a breakout player team by team article. And I was at the Cubs. I couldn't really think of someone to put because everyone in the starting lineup is kind of set in stone right now, and they've all kind of already had their breakouts. I went with Schwarber because I think Schwarber will have a better year than any other year he's had so far because he'll get more reps. But they're their lineup is pretty much set in stone. Their bullpen is lacking a little bit, but Brandon Morrow, Carl Edwards, Brendan Kinsler, Pedro Strop, it's still solid. So I give them the edge over the Cardinals, not by much.
C-check solid too.
Yeah, Steve
Mm.
Cishek too. And then the Cardinals, their rotation's solid. If Carlos Martinez can stay healthy and be good, then that'll be huge for them. He's not. I don't think he's healthy right now. I think he's dealing with an injury. What else is new? But Paul Goldschmidt, Matt Carpenter.
How much is new there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marcelo Zuna and Harrison Bader in the outfield too. I love Harrison Bader. It's really good team. I think Jordan Hicks needs to be a better closer than he was last year. He wasn't really a full-time closer last year, but I think he needs to stop worrying as much about throwing 105 and worry more about not walking 5 batters per 9 innings. So if he does that, if he can throw 100 and walk 3 batters per 9, it's a lot better than what he's doing. And then in third, I actually have the Reds in third and the Brewers in fourth. Because the Reds, I don't know, the Brewers rotation is really suspect. They have I don't even know how to say his first name, Jules Chassin, and as their number 1.
Jolice
Chassin, yeah. Him at number 1. Freddie Peralta, who I really like at number 2. But then it's Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns, Zach Davies. Burns is a good prospect. The other 2 are kind of just solid guys to put in there. But they have a good lineup, too. I like Orlando Arcia this year after what he did in the playoffs last year. It was impressive. Hopefully he can carry that over. He was my breakout for the Brewers because of the postseason. But they have a good lineup, but I really think the Reds lineup is better. And the Pirates are kind of the outlier.
I don't want to cut you off, but what is the you're coming out with a new breakout article too, right? Like a 30-player article coming soon or tomorrow or something?
Tomorrow.
Nice. I'm gonna look forward to reading that.
Yeah, it took a lot. It was like over 4,000 words. It was because it was 1 player per team. It was pretty fun to write, actually.
Yeah, that's a shit ton of words, dude. What?
Yeah,
that's a lot of work.
Like, I mean, I can barely form enough words when I'm speaking, so I don't know about writing that many words. That's awesome, though. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that.
Thanks, man. And I guess I'll just finish with the West right now, because but I got the Dodgers winning it pretty narrowly. I think the Rockies will contend. Oh, I forgot to mention, I have the Braves and the Cardinals getting the 2 wild card spots, so the Rockies will miss the playoffs, but I think they'll contend. I think the Dodgers, if Kershaw is healthy, and I'm not even if he's half as good as he was in his best years, he's still good. And then Ryu.
But is he healthy though?
No, right now, no. But if you can,
I mean, can we? I'm not trying to sway your predictions, but I just don't know. Can you rely on him?
No, I don't think you can. But I think even without Kershaw, the rotation with Hyunjin Ryu, Kenta Maeda, Walker Buehler, Julio Urias, who's really, I like him as a prospect, and then Ross Stripling, Rich Hill if he's healthy. They got plenty of guys to cover their bases if Kershaw's not healthy. I'm interested to see if Max Muncy will be as impressive as he was last year. His barrel rate was really solid last year, if you guys are into those kind of stats. But
absolutely.
He's a definitely. I think he'll be even better this year if that's possible from what he did last year. They picked up AJ Pollock, which was huge. I think right now it's got on the depth chart Kike Hernandez listed as the starting second baseman over Chris Taylor. I think it's definitely got to be Chris Taylor. Kike Hernandez is a lefty specialist, and that's about it.
Yeah,
but
they're also pretty flexible. Where either one of them can play outfield, play second too.
Right.
The point where Taylor could be in the outfield or at second or short, and you know what I mean, and then PK as well. So but against lefties, I actually expect both of those two to be in there a lot.
Yeah, I do too, because Chris Taylor, people look at him like he could only platoon against righties, but I think his average was better against lefties last year. I'm not really sure. It would make sense, righty lefty, but he was.
I believe, but I don't know exactly.
But Kike Hernandez definitely has more power against lefties because he's I'm not I'm just gonna come out and say he's kind of useless against righties. Like his stats against righties are abysmal. But really quick, I think we talked about this in the Score Crook chat. How people are really underrating Justin Turner too. Like Justin Turner is a great player. When he's healthy, he can hit 300. He can hit 25, 30 home runs even. He's one of my favorite players in the league. He's a great third baseman. Oh, and they still have Kenley Jansen in the bullpen if he can be better than he was last year. So I think they win the division by 5 or 6 games maybe. So, yeah.
So I'm going to go NL East. I'm going to give it I'm going to go with the Braves. I think it's going to be a close race. I actually think my second place team is going to be the Mets. That's my second place team in the NL East. I think this is the year that they get everything right. I think everybody stays healthy. And one of the big things that with the Mets last year was their pitching was hurt, but they also had no hitting. Their hitting has, between getting Cano, between getting Ramos, between getting Lowry, their hitting has improved a lot. And I think even if some players do go down in that rotation, I think the hitting can supplement it enough to help them win some games. So I actually think they're going to be second place. I think I'll put the Phillies in third. And then I'm going to put Washington fourth and the Marlins last. NL Central, I already said it. I said the Cardinals are getting first place.
Damn you, Soupy.
I think the Cardinals are going to get first place. I think this is they were in contention last year for that Central up until about maybe 2 weeks left in the season.
You know what though? They sucked the early part of the season too, though.
Yeah. But then after they fired Matheny, they had a huge resurgence. They got back into the race. And again, up until maybe about the last 2 weeks of the year, they were still in contention for the Central and those 2 wild card spots.
Hey, quick thing. What's up with Ned Yost?
What about him?
Mike Matheny's taking his job.
Why?
Mike Matheny sucks.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I don't know. I hope he doesn't, but I don't know. Mike Matheny's terrible, and it's better for the Cardinals that he's gone.
I think, but again, Mike Matheny took over the La Russa team, and I think he kind of hopped off of La Russa, and I think that's what got him the winning teams at the beginning of his career. And I think now that he's managed his own team, I think that's just. And a lot of the players have even said like he's not much of a player's coach.
No.
A lot of players have had problems like communicating with him. I think that was the big thing.
He openly talks bad about him. Actually,
yeah.
Like it's like, would you want to play for somebody like that? That's openly down you. Like I understand confronting you and trying to motivate you and stuff like that. Like
Tom Izzo
aside, but this is really you just don't go in front of the media and just publicly just bash somebody, and I feel like he's done that too many times.
So yeah, I think now with the new coach, with picking up a guy like Goldschmidt, again that Goldschmidt, Ozuna, Rubles, I think that's going to be a great lineup in the middle right there. So I'm going to give them first. And then I'm going to give the Cubs the second place, as long as everyone, again, stays healthy. Like you guys mentioned, the rotation's a little older, but that is a veteran rotation. If the problem is, too, it's the bullpen. An older rotation means less innings by everyone, so that bullpen is going to have to pick up the slack for the older starting rotation. If they could do that, I think they can easily – contend for that Central, but I ultimately think that they're going to get second place, and then I give the Brewers third place, and then I'll go Cincinnati fourth, and then I put the Pirates in last, and then for the NL West, I think it's going to be obvious that it'll be the Dodgers again. But I think the Rockies will contend. I think the Rockies will contend a lot better than most people think. I think it's going to be a very close race. I think the Dodgers will only take it by a game or two. And then for third, I'm going to put the Diamondbacks. And then I'll put the Padres fourth this year, but they're going to be first place next year. I think the Padres' year is next year. And then last place are the San Francisco Giants. I think the Giants will be the only under 500 team in that division. That's a bold prediction right there. I think the Giants will be the only under 500 team.
What are your predictions for Tatis and Urias? Like as far as what are they doing this year? Like what are they providing?
I think right now that it's again the team. Everybody there is so young, but I think right now you need to bring them up this year just to kind of get their feet wet in the majors. Because again, I don't think they're going to contend this year, so you don't even have to bring them up right away. They don't have to come up in April. They could come up in July, August, but get them some major league experience now. Because I think next year, 2020, 2021, need to be the years that they need to start competing for that division. So I think get them in this year. They don't have to be on the opening day roster. I don't think they'll be. I don't think, especially Tatis. I don't think Tatis will be on the opening day roster. Urias might, but at some point, those guys need to be in the starting lineup on a daily basis.
I like their young pitching too.
Mm-hmm.
Paddock,
Quantrill,
even Strom. To be honest with you, I think people are underestimating Strom. I think that's how you say his name, but yeah, I think people are underestimating him, and they've got some prospects too, pitching wise, that really I think they're going to blossom. But yeah, I agree with everything you said.
And then, I didn't pick my 2 wild card. I'm going to give the Mets are getting that first wild card, and the Cubs are going to get the second wild card. Those are my 2 wild card predictions. I mean, again, too, you have Syndergaard, you have DeGrom. Those guys have pitched in the World Series. So
yeah, we're talking way down the road. But if that's your prediction for wild card 1, wild card 2, that's not a bad bet to take.
No,
pretty good assumption there.
So for the East, I have the Braves finishing first, and then the Phillies second, and then the Nats third because they're pitching over the Mets, and I don't trust the Mets to stay healthy enough to finish at third. I think they'll be better than last year, but just because of the Nats front three, I put them in third, and then obviously the Marlins in last because they're just not going to be good. That's all that needs to be said about that. And then for the Central, I have the Cubbies in first, and then the Cardinals in second, Brewers in third. I have the Pirates in fourth instead of the Reds because I think the Pirates they'll be decent because they're pitching because of that front three, but obviously their offense is inconsistent. They rely on Jung Ho Kang, who missed all of last year. And they have a lot of young guys. So I put them over the Reds just because of the pitching. And then for the West, the Dodgers in first, the Rockies in second, and then San Diego, then the Giants, and then Arizona.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then for the wild cards, I think it's going to be one out of the East. I think it's probably going to be the Phillies and the Cardinals.
So I have the Phillies number 1, and it's just more about they just have so much talent offensively, and I think they have enough otherwise pitching and everything else that they will win that division. And it's not just Bryce Harper. If he comes back to Bryce Harper level, that's just such a huge impact. I mean, and then you talk about McCutchen. They didn't make just one move. They got McCutchen. They got Real Muto. I mean, it's just so much that I just really feel like the Phillies can take that division, and I love the Braves. You know, you got to love Acuna, Ozzy Albies, you know, and even Freddie Freeman if he's staying healthy. He's one of the best hitters in the game. I don't know. Their pitching, it's not overwhelming like you guys are talking about. The Gas Man, Gossman. I don't know. I don't really trust them. So I think I actually have them finishing second, and then the Mets third, because I feel like if that rotation does, but realistically, it's a 4-team race. I mean, there's 4 teams that can really compete in that division. I mean, you know, like you guys were talking about earlier, the Nationals, you can't really knock them out. It's just because you got rid of Harper, you can't knock them out. They're still going to be competitive. They're still going to be good. They have potential. So I wouldn't knock them out. But yeah, I have them finishing fourth, and I think the newcomers with the Mets, and if they stay healthy, they're just rotation. I really like Zach Wheeler. I think if he's healthy again, once he started developing the splitter, he's got a 36.5% K rate on the splitter, and he cut down on changeups a lot and really on singles. So that guy, yeah, he's really my dark horse for Cy Young, honestly. But realistically, they have 3 guys that could contend for a Cy Young, and then with Steven Matz at the 4, you have 4 really good starting pitchers. You know, that's a solid rotation. So, you know, the additions of Cano, they could compete. They could really compete. Cano, Alonso, rookie. I expect big things from him this year.
Chad Lowry.
Lowry. He had a career year last year, which you can't guarantee that's going to happen again. They're dealing with injuries with him and Frazier. But they just have pieces. Nimmo had a OBP of 400, over 400 last year. I mean, if Nimmo, he's hitting at the top of that order, and Conforto stays healthy, and he could hit over 30 home runs easily. So, yeah, he might strike out a little bit, but he's going to hit. He's definitely going to hit for power. And Wilson Ramos, the addition of Wilson Ramos, I don't know. I'm tempted to put them 2 above the Braves, but it wouldn't surprise me even if they won the division. But with the pitching, like Soupy was saying, he thinks it's going to come together this year. If it comes together, they're winning the division.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're winning the division. It's not even a question, because I think they have enough veterans on the team that Robinson Cano is getting really overlooked just because of his age, and trust me, he's going to be motivated this year because of the suspension last year. So I think people are really underestimating them, and I'm not going to mention the Marlins. They're going to win like maybe 5 games. So I guess I just did mention them, but yeah, 45 wins. Put it in the bank. Not going to be a tout. Please don't put your money on that. The Central, I've got my Cubs. They're one. I'm glad that Soupy took them, the Cardinals, to finish number 1, because I wanted somebody to argue with about this division. And I just, you can't knock off. You can't just knock them off with picking up a guy like Goldie, who's obviously a Cubs killer, and I'm not looking forward to that. But the decline from Yadi Molina, I think he's getting older.
Yadi's yet to have a decline year, though.
Yeah, but it's not even just his offense, is what I'm thinking. I did some extra research on him.
You mean the fact that he won his 9th straight Gold Glove last year?
Right. Well, yeah, but that's all, you know how that goes, right?
If he wins a Gold Glove this year, he'll tie Johnny Bench and Ivan Rodriguez for the most Gold Gloves for a catcher all time.
He's been one of the best catchers of all time, and nobody can question that. And I'm not questioning that. I think he's one of the best. I've admired watching him play as much as I've hated watching him play, because he's one of the best. But the decline that doing some research as far as like the metrics of pitch framing and etc., he was a negative 0.75, I believe, as far as plus calls per game. So that means that out of balls that were either located in the zone that got called balls that were actually strikes, or pitches that were out of the zone that were balls that got called strikes, framing metrics, he wasn't as good as he has been in years past. And even the year before, it was like it was a negative 0.02. So he was better the year before than he was last year. And it's a pretty significant drop off because he was over 1 in that standard when I was looking at it in like 2013, 2014. So so it's really not even just about his I mean, he's still a great game caller. He still can throw guys out. I mean, he blocking balls. He's still, all that. But and I wouldn't say that pitch framing is the most important thing because the Cubs have a guy that's not that great at it, and Wilson Contreras. So I'm not saying that that's the reason that they're not winning the division. But what I am saying is, I don't know if you can expect the type of production that people are thinking of when they're looking at these players. Like yeah, Dexter Fowler had a down year, last year, and he's fighting with O'Neill, I believe, for the outfield spot. So if he struggles again, then probably O'Neill is the guy in there.
Well, not even like O'Neill, but they still probably Jose Martinez. If Dexter Fowler doesn't get the outfield, I think Jose Martinez will probably slip in there.
He just got an extension, didn't he?
They're going to use him in the outfield?
I think so. That's what they've been saying.
Is he capable?
He's a better. I think if they want to go offensive wise, they'll probably put his bat in there.
Yeah, he's a guy that played for the Rockford team here before he even signed a professional contract. But yeah, he's a great hitter. He's a good hitter. I don't know. I feel like he's kind of the guy that gets moved, to be honest with you. And maybe they use him as a pinch hitter, like using him. Maybe they do use him in a starting role. But I think the Cardinals they have a damn good team. I mean, they made some good additions here, and then the extension of Goldie. It's just they're setting themselves up nicely, and it's going to be a dogfight. And I really think you guys are even overlooking the Brewers. Actually, their rotation sucked last year going into the season. So and then they surprised people. I don't think that Yelich hits as many home runs as he did last year, and I don't think he hits 326 or whatever it was. But I still think that, with you got Kane, you got Yelich. I mean, their lineup is just, their bullpen's good. I don't know. We're seeing the game. We're seeing the way the game's going, and for the exact reasons that you guys don't like the Red Sox, is the exact reasons why I do like the Brewers, because of the fact that they do have a bullpen. So I would say that they are finishing third, and behind the Cardinals and behind the Cubs. And I think that fourth would be the Reds, which going into this, like before maybe a week ago, I actually thought that the Pirates would topple them, but I can't say that again. I don't think the Pirates are doing that. I think the Reds just have too much firepower offensively that, and guys like you guys were talking about, like Sonny Gray, I think they're clearly better than the Pirates, but anything can happen in baseball. So I would put that, though. That's the order I would put it in: Reds and then Pirates to finish last, without putting a win total on it.
Really quickly, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
I just want to say no one's brought up his name yet, probably because he plays for the Pirates, but Jameson Taillon is someone who's kind of my dark horse Cy Young candidate, like one of those like Jake DeGrom types where he doesn't get a lot of run support, so he's overlooked. But I still think he's the ace this year. If he's healthy, if he pitches like an ace, he's got a great shot at winning the Cy Young. I'm kind of sick of seeing Max Scherzer win it. I know he didn't win it last year, but him and Kershaw, I don't think either of them will win it this year. I don't think DeGrom wins it either. So I think it's kind of Taillon's award to lose at this point.
I don't know. That's interesting. I wouldn't say award to lose, but he's definitely a dark horse for me.
Well, yeah,
Um,
I digress that, but I mean, like, I'm saying he's got a better chance than a lot of people right now. People are really overlooking him and being that he's gonna be that guy for the Pirates. He's gonna if if he needs to make progress from last year, because last year was a good year. This year needs to be a great year. So yeah, I digress. It's not his award to lose, but he's definitely can fight for that award
yeah, and he's better than Chris Archer, in my opinion.
easily.
I mean, Chris Archer, a lot of people are
Yeah.
they're looking at him as like I don't know, the Pirates fans are they got their hopes up, but he's just really inconsistent to me, and that's kind of why I avoided him fantasy wise too, because he's just really inconsistent. But people want to take that chance because he's got the stuff, but he just never can put it all together. So, but I guess I got to go back to the Cubs because that is my team, and if I don't talk about them, then people are going to probably try to kill me in this town. So, Ian Happ getting sent to AAA is kind of interesting. He struggled mightily this spring, and I think he's got potential to be something in this league, and he's shown that he can hit a little bit at this league at least. But I think that error in the other spring training game kind of, he made his own fate at that point because he was already struggling. So at second base, they wanted to try him out at second base with Russell being out early in the year, but he's just not. I don't know. I think they're looking for help in the outfield at least with center field. You got Descalzo at second base, probably him and you got Baez at short, but Descalzo and probably Bodie second base, and obviously Zobrist too. But other than Almora on center field, that's all you got pretty much, unless you slide Hayward over. So it'll be interesting what they do, and then the bullpen is spotty, but they were one of the best bullpens, believe it or not, last year, numbers wise. So even though they don't have that solid closer, that bona fide closer and that strikeout guy at the end, the back end, they still have some names out there that you guys mentioned that are still quality. I think they need a lefty reliever, though, to really make them go over the top, at least solidify it, certainly, and then guys to be healthy like Morrow. But so I got them winning the division, and not surprising. But I have the the NL West. This is interesting because to me it's a two-team race. It's the Rockies and it's the Dodgers, and we'll see what's going on with Kershaw. I think that's a big part of it for me because I know they have other good starting pitching, and I think that puts them over the top though because Bueller. Or Walker Bueller, however you say it. I don't expect him to be like a Cy Young type pitcher or he's very, very good. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's going to get the innings that's going to make him, it's almost like a Kershaw situation. Like, I just don't think he's going to get the innings that people are expecting him to or to jump into. So I would say, but I still think the Dodgers are winning that division. They're just so strong elsewhere, and they've good enough starting pitching and bullpen that I just see them winning the division. The Rockies, Jamie left. The Rockies, and then that's what it comes down to me as far as the fight goes, because I think they have all the tools to be good offensively, and Daniel Murphy addition, I think that really helps them.
Especially
David
Coors Field.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep. And he's big for fantasy too. He's going to see a big uptick. I mean, the guy can hit 300 maybe and higher than that, and then 25 home runs, so then David Dahl breaks out like they think he will, and you got Story and just those guys. The pitching is still questionable, but mostly because it's weird to say that because their pitching was really good last year, and it was actually like their strength. But it still is Coors Field, so I wouldn't say. I mean, they play in Coors Field just like the other team plays in Coors Field, so there's really no advantage in that sense as far as teams go. But I don't know. Herman Marquez is one season. I got to see it again to really believe it. And it's not that I don't think that he's capable of it. I got to see more of it. It's almost like John Gray. He showed flashes of it the one year and then didn't really do it the next year. So I don't know. I got them second and contending for a wild card, and really I think it's going to be a close race in that division, though. So both of them contending for a wild card and both of them contending for the division, and then third I have the Diamondbacks. No, I actually have the Padres. I think they're going to make steps this year. What we've already talked about the young guys and stuff, and the Manny Machado signing, which is huge for them.
Yeah.
And I've got fourth. I've got the Diamondbacks, which our fellow buddy Marcos isn't going to like. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I had him last, so he really won't like me.
Yeah, well, I'll sue you, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. I feel like I've taken up the whole podium. So Diamondbacks, and then I've got last but not least. Oh, actually, least. The San Francisco, the retirement home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there even a player under 30 on that team?
I don't know.
I don't know.
If there is, we don't know who it is.
Yeah.
My prediction is going to be Yankees over either the Dodgers or the Phillies, I think.
I've got
and then that's in 7 games.
I hate to do this as a Yankee fan, not picking the Yankees this year, but I've got the Astros over the Cubs.
Ooh, the Cubs.
Okay, got them going there. That's cool.
Probably 6 or 7 games. Actually, I'd say Astros in 5.
Oh, really?
No, don't say that. Say we want 7 games. If you don't say 7 games, you're not a real baseball fan. You got to have 7 games.
Yeah.
It's just it's something about Game 7. It's 7 games, no matter what.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to predict that the Dodgers are going to pull off a Texas Rangers. They're going to do 3 straight World Series trips, and this time they are going to win, and they are going to beat the Yankees. It is going to be a 1981 World Series, rivalry right there, and you guys want to say it's 7 games? No, I'm going to say the Dodgers sweep.
Whoa!
There you go.
As the Yankees fan. Wow.
Yep, I'm saying that as a Yankees fan.
They're sweeping the Yankees?
Yep.
Oh,
Right.
All right.
Bold.
Wow.
All right, Soupy.
Wow.
My microphone just got a whole lot of. I felt the warmth. I think it's gonna be Astros against the Dodgers. I don't like it. No, excuse me. What the hell am I talking about? I actually think it's gonna be Astros against the Phillies, and I think Cubs fans are gonna hate me, and I'm one of them. But I feel like every time I pick them to do something, then they're not gonna do it. So I really want them to do it. So therefore, I'm gonna say Astros and Phillies, and Astros are winning it in 7 games. So there we go.
All right. I got AL MVP. Gonna go Mike Trout. Just take the obvious pick because he's Mike Trout. I don't really think anyone's gonna top him this year after his extension. The only other person that I could see in that rate, my second option would be Alex Bregman. One of those two, I'd have AL MVP and then NL MVP. You know what? Screw it. I'm giving it to Arenado. If they don't give it to him because of where he plays, then screw them. But Arenado's a great player, no matter what ballpark he's in. So, and then AL Cy Young. If I want to go real dark horse, I'll give it to Mike Clevenger. But I'm going to give it to a different Indian, and I'm going to give it to Trevor Bauer.
Oh, wow. You stole my pick. That's a good pick, though.
And then NL Cy Young, I'll give 2 because I gave 2 for the AL. It's either going to be Jameson Taillon or Walker Buehler.
So you think he's gonna get the innings that?
I do. I think,
Okay.
especially if Kershaw's hurt. If Kershaw if he can't stay healthy all year, Bueller's gonna be a 1 or 2 guy who's gonna get the majority of the innings
I
behind.
mean, he's
maybe
gonna be
you.
a 1 or 2 regardless as far as talent goes. I think he's
Oh yeah,
he's got what it takes to be a Cy Young for sure.
definitely.
All right, I'm going to go with my MVPs. AL MVP, I'm going with Aaron Judge. I'm not trying to be a biased Yankee fan or anything, but I think he's going to stay healthy all year. He's going to hit like 50 home runs, and he's just going to be the face of the Yankees all season. He's going to just carry them to the World Series. And then NL, I'm going to go with Arenado as well. I think he's just going to have an outstanding year after the extension, and he's just going to prove why they gave him that money. AL Cy Young, I'm going with Verlander, actually. I think he's going to have a really good year for the Astros and just going to be what continues to bring them to such a good face of the MLB. And then NL Cy Young, I'm actually going to go with Aaron Nola. I think he's going to have a really good year for the Phillies, and really he's going to be like the one of the best pitchers in the league, and then end up being winning the Cy Young. And then also, you didn't do that, Gio, the Rookie of the Year, but I'm going to say Rookie of the Year for the AL is going to be Vlad Jr. It's an obvious pick, but that's the way I'm going to go. NL Rookie of the Year, that's a tough one. Because it kind of depends if Tatis comes up or not, and what the Padres do, but. So I'm not really gonna pick one right now because I'm not sure what's gonna happen with that. So
I'm gonna avoid picking Rookie of the Year because I'm not sure who's gonna be called up either. So
I'm kind of going with Vlad because I think that Vlad's gonna come up and be like really good.
Yeah.
But at the National League, I'm not really sure.
I think.
What?
I said I think there's no question about him. I think he's gonna. People make fun of his like physical appearance, but dude can flat out rake. I mean, look at Big Papi, look at Manny Ramirez, like those guys. It's just, I know I'm mentioning Red Sox here, so I'm sure you guys love that, but just even I don't know. I just think he's just gonna rake. He's gonna be outstanding.
Yeah, I'm actually going to. I live like near Scranton, where the Railroaders play for the Yankees, like the AAA Yankees. And they're playing Buffalo like the first series, so I'm going to that series. I'm going to one of the games.
Nice, man.
I live 10 minutes from AAA, the Twins, Rochester Red Wings, so I'll go when they play Buffalo too in Rochester.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get his autograph. That'd be awesome.
Hey, are you guys? Is that both you guys that were doing that the baseball card thing, the rookie cards?
Wait, what?
What
baseball card thing?
Wasn't somebody like talking about taking ordering
that was
cards?
That was me too. I ordered a couple. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome, man. Like, you get those rookie cards signed. Like, that's legit.
Yeah.
I actually don't think I ordered Vlad Jr. for whatever reason. I went like all these other. I think it's because I thought he would make the opening day roster, so it'd kind of be pointless. But if he doesn't, I'm gonna be kind of pissed off.
Hey, you got time.
Yeah, I could still order.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What did who's next? Soupy or me?
Yeah, I haven't done my picks yet.
Yeah.
All right, for my AL MVP, I'm gonna pick the obvious. I'm gonna go Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge said this is his first off season where he has not had to recover from many injuries, and he's had a full off season workout. So I think this is the big breakout year. 280, 55 home runs, 130 RBIs.
Wow.
My NL rookie or my NL MVP, Freddie Freeman.
No.
With the team that he had such a resurgence last year, and I think he's gonna have an even better year this year, and I think he's gonna win that MVP. AL Cy Young. There's no one I can really think of right now besides one of the obvious. I think I'm gonna give it to Kluber again this year, just because I maybe Severino, maybe Sale, Price, but I think Kluber again will probably get it this year. My NL Cy Young will be Aaron Nola. Alex, you took mine. I wanted to pick Aaron Nola for that one. I think Aaron Nola is going to be my pick this year. And I'll go rookies. I'll go AL rookie. I think I'll pick Vlad Jr. also. But then NL Rookie of the Year, Rockies, Brendan Rodgers. I watched that guy play last year in Hartford. He can hit. And I think he's definitely going to get called up this year on the big club, and I think he's going to get that Rookie of the Year.
So I was looking at this one guy tweeted out like he was making all his picks, and he said Rookie of the Year for the National League, Tim Tebow. I was like, what are you talking about? He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's not happening.
And then I think he said American League, Russell Wilson. I was like, what? He doesn't even. He's not playing baseball. He's just in the Yankees spring training.
That must have been satire.
He must. Yeah, he must.
Yeah, it probably was.
It had to be.
That's a big fat troll. That's what that is.
Yeah.
But,
Joey?
Yeah, my predictions. AL MVP, I'm just going to go back to the well. I think it's Mookie Betts, and it's more so because of the lineup around him, and I just think that he can do so much more than just hit home runs that I just feel like, what better option than one of the best athletes in the world than Mookie Betts. So I think Judge is going to have a great year, though. I've actually got him stamped as hitting the most home runs in the American League. So take that for what it's worth. But in the National League, I've got for the MVP, let's see, who did I have? I'm trying to think now. Oh, duh. I've got my main man. I've got Chris Bryant.
I was going to go that route.
It's just, he's healthy. He wasn't healthy last year. I don't care what people say. They talk about his playing. He was playing, but he wasn't healthy. So the shoulder's healed. He didn't have surgery. He just needed time. He's going to have a big year. He didn't have a huge spring training, but he started out hitting home runs, and I think it's just going to come together. I think he's going to bounce back. He's going to be 2016 Chris Bryant, and we'll just go from there. But National League Cy Young, I've got I guess AL Cy Young first. I've got Bauer. Gio kind of stole my pick with that one. But yeah, I just expect big things from him. He's just got the stuff, and he's got the peripherals to kind of – I just think he's going to be good. National League Cy Young, I don't know. I've got a dark horse, and I've got a real Cy Young, and they're both on the Mets. So I don't know. It's kind of – yeah, exactly. Yep. I've got DeGrom as the Cy Young, and not just because of what he did last year, but because last year was him coming into his own, and I think that he's just always been that guy. And Wheeler, there's so much more behind him than just – and I could have mentioned Darvish too, I think, if he bounces back, but realistically, I wouldn't say he's going to be a Cy Young. I think Wheeler just has so much more to offer as far as the main categories go. I think he's a real dark horse. 1 through 3, they're so solid if they're healthy. They're taking a division. There's no question in my mind if they're healthy. So with that said, Rookie of the Year, it's also in New York. Peter Alonso, I think he's getting the Rookie of the Year with the Mets. He's fighting for position with Dominic Smith for first base. But he is going to take Rookie of the Year. If it's not him, because, power hitters we've seen come in the league and just strictly hit for power and just not hit for average right away. If it's not him, that's Victor Robles. And I just think because he's playing every day that you just can't really discount what he can provide. I mean, he's going to play great defense. You know that in the outfield. He's got great speed. If he can put it together and hit for a little bit of power and hit for average and get on base, I think he's the guy that's going to do it if Alonso struggles with hitting for contact. And then obviously his defense is way better than Alonso's. So In the AL Rookie of the Year, I've got Eloy actually. Vladdy, I've got no doubt in my mind that he's going to be a perennial all-star and superstar in this league, and I think Eloy's going to do that too, or be an all-star, a great hitter in this league. And I think him playing a full season, and he just like Vladdy, he was ready to go last year. No question in my mind, they could have called him up at any point last year and been like, "Here, you're going to play every day in the outfield," and he would have raked. So I think just to be maybe a little bit different, I'm going to take Eloy as the Rookie of the Year in the AL.
All right.
So you're welcome, Sox fans, for Eloy and Dylan Cease, by the way.
Yeah, that was a terrible trade.
Yeah, and all the rest of your guys, your prospects seem to be hurt right now. So you got the most they have to look forward to right now, as of right now. Well, they've got other guys to look forward to, but they're most excited about Eloy Jimenez and Dylan Cease, and they both came from the Cubs in the Quintana trade. So you're welcome.
Great trade, Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing Theo's messed up other than the Hayward contract, probably.
Hey, this has been Too Much Pod Tar. Thank you for joining us.
Flick.